sumptuous collections of tapestries. The superbly furnished Chateau of Langeais was bequeathed to the Institut de France and affords a clear idea of the interior of a 15th century manor house. This splendid hall brilliantly evokes the royal event that fixed it in history's memory for all time, the marriage of Charles VIII and Anne de Bretagne. Val de Loire, the fortified refuge of the monarchy during the times of troubles, became a kind of vast garden where the court moved from castle to castle. The Loire Valley no longer needed those excessively heavy defense works that had been made necessary by feudal warfare and the English occupation during the 100 Years' War. The chateau now lay open to the air, sun, river, and gardens. Ussé may well be the chateau that most accurately reflects the spirit of all these changes, since it lacks one entire structure, namely a fourth wall, making it easier to proceed between terraces, grounds, and main house. Thus amputated, the initial quadrilateral was destined to undergo the metamorphosis wrought by the Renaissance. Luxury took the place of strength. Unto the former fortress there was added such an array of adornments as to make it into a manner of fairyland castle, basking in unreal superabundance, the ideal setting for Perrault's famous tale of the Sleeping Beauty. The feudal structure of Ussé is also found at Chaumont, wholly intact and devoid of useless adornments. It emerges as the typical example of a medieval chateau, completely closed in on itself, devoid of all ornamentation other than its defense system. The Chateau of Chaumont, which at its entranceway, with its severe military facade, emerges like a challenge to the fashion of its day, boasts a Renaissance courtyard flaunting the bold features of the last Gothic period. As at Ussé, the fourth wall was eliminated in order for the chateau to open out toward the river. The inside of the chateau is devoted to sidelights of history. Chaumont represents the epilogue of a dramatic event that occurred at Chenonceau. After Henry II's death, Catherine de Médicis acquired Chaumont in order to wreak vengeance on Diane de Poitiers, the late king's favorite. The queen forced her rival to give up Chenonceau, Diane's favorite chateau, in exchange for Chaumont. According to legend, it was in Chaumont's great tower, in the room of Ruggieri, the queen's astrologer, that Catherine de' Medici read in the stars the dire fates that awaited her three sons, Francis II, Charles IX, and Henry III, and the replacement of the Valois by the Bourbons on the French throne. The Chateau of Chaumont basks in a dual setting. It is closed off on the side facing inland, and it opens onto the Loire. It is a shining example of the composite character of a structure that, although it was conceived in between two worlds, displays remarkable unity. At Villandry, where the garden is omnipresent, the metamorphosis became fully achieved. In the 16th century, the redoubtable keep, the sole vestige of the original defense system, was merely a symbol of the power of the nobility. Villandry's extraordinary grounds are a breathtaking illustration of the new art of living. They contain one of the unique curiosities of the Loire Valley in the form of a wondrous kitchen garden designed as an ornamental space for leisure time enjoyment, basking amid a stunning carpet of multicolored plants. This exceedingly elaborate creation, which combines gardening and the plastic arts, is the ultimate expression of the refinement of Villandry, since it favors aesthetics over utilitarian purpose. These alluring, doubly edible vegetables first of all provide a feast for the eyes. Villandry retains the geometrical structure and the complex symbolism of medieval gardens, and the themes of music and love govern the forms. The gardens were beginning to overflow the boundaries of their originally assigned closed-in central space. This marked the genesis of an evolution whose end result was Versailles. The beholder may feel that the chateau was merely the pretext for the setting, and that it is the sights, the river, the trees, the hues and the flowers that determine the architecture. The site and the chateau of Amboise are rich with a storehouse of memories, perhaps the greatest array of all, since their record harks back to a Gallic oppidum, or fortress, which subsequently became a Roman castellum and eventually a feudal castle. Julius Caesar, Saint-Martin, and Clovis presumably slept here. Not until Charles VII's time did it become a royal chateau. From that time on, Amboise tells its own story through diverse recollections. There is the balcony of the conspirators, a reminder of the tragic outcome of the Amboise conspiracy and the violent outbreak of the wars of religion. There is the Tower of the Minimes, which holds memories of Emperor Charles V's visit, and whose spiraling rise, the only one of its kind in the world, enabled riders to continue on horseback up to the top. There is Saint-Hubert's chapel on the ramparts, a precious setting for a treasured relic, for it contains the tomb of Leonardo da Vinci, who died at Clos-Lucé near Amboise, with Francis I at his bedside. And the mystic stag on the chapel's facade evokes the worship of Saint-Hubert as a patron saint by the Hunter Kings. The heraldic emblems of Louis-Philippe d'Orléans remind us that he was the last king to dwell at Amboise. Over 1,000 years of history thus unfold the chronicle of the countless events for which Amboise was the setting. However, what interests us are only the 14 years of Charles VIII's reign, since it is to him alone that we owe Amboise. His father, Louis XI, had relegated his wife and children to Amboise. Charles retained a fondness for his childhood home, and once on the throne, he set about making it into a stupendous fortress palace. Charles VIII's Chateau remains a wondrous example of what is known as the First Renaissance. This strange little ruler, who dreamt of conquering the Kingdom of Naples and the Empire of the Orient, launched the Italian wars that were to keep France in a state of belligerence for 3 reigns. His wanderlust and his fondness for encounters spurred Charles VIII on to undertake vaster concepts. Most importantly, he felt that a monarch's abode should surpass all the others in all manner of splendid ways. The royal destiny of this young king, the story of whose marriage at Langeais to Duchess Anne, the heiress to the Duchy of Brittany, was marked by the deaths of all 4 of the children whom he had by this queen. Failing the existence of a royal heir, the crown would revert to his cousin Louis d'Orléans, who had fallen out of favor. Not only the crown, but also the queen, because under the terms of a treaty agreement, she would have to wed the king's successor in the event of her husband's demise. The couple's anguish lasted 6 years. With the birth of each child, hope was kindled anew, and each time it ended in tragedy through to the final disaster. Charles VIII himself died young, aged 28, the victim of an accident in the chateau that he had made into a palace, still dreaming of conquering the world.